Hey runners, and welcome to your yoga series with me, Lewis. Now this is episode 25, so I hope you enjoy this one. It's a really well-rounded session that's designed for runners that are looking for just a really well-structured, well-rounded practice. We're gonna have some standing, leg endurance, like strength focus splits in our dynamic part of our practice, rounding off our practice with some yin, with a big focus around hips and hamstrings. So I hope you're looking forward to this one as much as I am. It's gonna be spicy, but hopefully worth it in the end. So come into a cross-legged position like I am. If that feels okay for you, feel free to sit on a pillow or anything that elevates the hips if that's a bit more comfortable to begin with. And we'll just sit nice and tall, closing the eyes down with hands resting on thighs or knees, or just falling over the knees with the fingers nice and relaxed. Sitting as tall as you can, lengthen the spine. And if it feels safe to close the eyes down, close the eyes. If not, looking at the tip of the nose as you soften the gaze. Now as we do begin this practice, grounding ourselves in this present moment, letting go of all those thoughts of emails, notifications, spreadsheets, all the things that battle for our attention all day long. And just noticing in your body where you can feel the breath, what sensations are coming up for you, perhaps even where you can feel the points of contact with the earth beneath you. Surrendering, letting go, acknowledging and observing. And we'll take 2 breaths here. Deep breath in, expanding the belly. And deep breath out, draw navel in towards the spine. Last one, deep breath in. And exhale to release and let go. Wonderful. So crossing the legs as you are, rolling over into a tabletop and coming into our cat and cow. So shoulders are stacked above the wrists and knees are beneath the hips. Working your way through your happy cow pose, so you can smile if you wish it. And that angry cat as you round the shoulders, dome in the shoulders, maybe even hissing if you're that way inclined. Good. So we'll start to build some space through the spine, through the shoulders, through the chest, even opening through the abdomen here. Build some heat in the body as we flex and extend now. And the gaze can follow the range of motion. So as you round the back, maybe you're looking between the thighs or looking towards the navel. And as you lift the chest, maybe you're looking right up towards the ceiling or just directly in front of you. Perfect. On your next inhale, we're going to tuck the toes underneath the feet this time. And exhale, pressing hands into mat to lift the hips up and back. Coming into down dog, take a gentle pedal through one heel at a time. Spread the palms and fingertips, pressing hands into mat till chest is pressing towards the thighs here. Arms are alongside the ears and just tuck the chin slightly towards the chest. Slowly come into a still down dog or a static dog. Bringing your awareness to your breath. And as always, I invite that you dry your breath if it's in your practice. If you're curious, maybe thinking about closing the mouth, breathing exclusively through the nose here. Almost as if you're breathing through a straw as you constrict the back of the throat. Listening for that raspiness in the back of the throat as we inhale, exhale. Slowly beginning to walk the feet in towards the backs of the wrists. Finding your way into that forward fold. Let everything hang nice and heavy here. Dangling through back, through shoulders, through neck. And slowly begin to roll up through each vertebrae, disc by disc. Standing as tall as you can here. Find Tadasana for a brief moment. Grounding yourself in any intention that you have for your practice. Now's your chance to set it. Beginning to work through your sun salutation A as we begin to build some real heat in the body here, preparing our body for the dynamic practice to come. Inhale, sweep arms alongside ears, bring palms to touch, gaze towards the heavens. Exhale to forward fold, swan diving towards the ground. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Halfway, maybe hands come to shins or thighs. Exhale to plant the hands, stepping back through your plank. We'll take a moment to pause here. Exhale, release the knees, followed by the chin and chest towards your mat. Inhale, slide the chest across the floor, clip elbows in tight to body, finding baby cobra. Exhale, shifting hips back to heels, finding child's pose for one breath. So a little modification of your vinyasa if at all you need it in your practice today. And as I often like to remind you, your child's pose is always welcome to you at any point in your practice should you need it for whatever reason. There's no shame, there's no judgment. Just find your way into a child's pose, even if it's just to come back to your breathing or take a moment for yourself. On your next inhale, come into a tabletop, tucking toes underneath the feet. Exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, softly bend the knees, take a look at where you're heading. Exhale, left foot steps forwards, followed by your right. Inhale to lift halfway, look into the horizon, the room where the floor meets the wall. Exhale to forward fold, around through the spine. Inhale, arms alongside the ears, upwards facing prayer or Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, straight back into that forward fold or Uttanasana in Sanskrit. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lifting halfway, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, options to step back. Maybe you're feeling warm to jump or float back and find Chaturanga Dandasana, elbows tight to body. Pull the chest through shoulders. Shoulders slide into back pockets as you press palms into mat. Find upwards facing dog. Exhale, lift the hips up and back. Find downward facing dog. Pressing the ground away here. We'll pause for 3. Shoulders away from the ears as you slide the shoulder blades into back pockets for 2. Hips up and back, heels towards the floor for 3. Looking towards the top edge of your mat, softly bend the knees. Exhale, step, jump or float your way forwards. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, see the arms alongside the ears, palms to touch. Exhale, hands come back through heart center in a prayer position, thumbs to sternum. Come back to your breathing here. Maybe come back to the intention you set. If the eyes are closed, come back to that focus gaze or drishti that we set in our earlier sequences and earlier parts of our series. That drishti. Moving through your modified sun salutation B this time, or Surya Namaskara B. Inhale, bend the knees, sit back into your chair pose, sweeping arms alongside the ears. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, stepping, jumping, or floating your way back through any variation of a vinyasa that feels okay for you. Exhale, lift the hips up and back. Find downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts up here. 3-legged dog. Keep both hips pointing down, including the toe, lifting back towards the shin. And as you exhale, right foot steps between the hands, release the left knee down. Inhale, find your low lunge. Arms alongside the ears. Exhale, hands frame that front foot. Find your way back through your vinyasa. Options to keep one foot off the floor if you want something a bit more spicy as always. Back bend of your choice here. Up dog for me. Maybe it's baby cobra for you. And exhale, find down dog. Repeating on the other side. Inhale, left leg reaches up. 3-legged dog. Exhale, left foot between the hands. Release the right knee for low lunge. Inhale, arms alongside the ears. Gaze towards the fingertips. Exhale, release the hands either side of the front foot. Your choice of one-legged or that traditional vinyasa as we come through your back bend and meet in down dog. Remember that child's pose is always available for you. Taking 3 breaths here as we inhale 1. Exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. Inhale 3. Exhale 3. Inhale, softly bend the knees. Look at where you're headed. Exhale, step, jump or float your way forwards. And inhale to lift halfway, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees. Sit back into your chair pose. Sweep arms alongside the ears. And we'll go through our Surya Namaskara B once more. So exhale, straight back into that forward fold. Legs straight, hips up. Inhale to lift halfway. Engage through upper back and shoulders, looking towards the horizon of the room. Exhale, plant the hands. Step, jump or float your way back into Chaturanga. Inhale, find the back bend of your choice. In this case, upwards facing. Exhale, lift the hips up and back for downwards facing dog. Pressing through the heels, lifting the hips a little bit higher as we inhale, right leg lifts up once again. Three-legged dog. Exhale, step the right foot between the hands. Left heel grounds down at 45 degrees. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. A little bit more traditional in this sun salutation B. As you exhale, hands frame the front foot. Find your way back through your vinyasa. Options again to keep one leg off the floor. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale, lift the hips, pressing through the hands. Inhale, three-legged dog, left leg reaches up. Exhale, step the left foot between the hands, grounding down through the right heel this time. Inhale, lifting to find warrior 1. Arms alongside the ears. Options to rotate those baby fingers in here. And as you exhale, hands frame that front foot. Find your way back through your vinyasa. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Yeah, then your next inhale, bend the knees, look to the top edge of your mat. Exhale, step, jump or float your way forwards. Inhale to lift halfway. And exhale to soften, round with your back and the shoulders. Inhale, bend the knees, sit back into chair pose, sweep arms alongside the ears. Now a few options with your chair pose now. Traditionally would have arms alongside the ears here, looking up towards the fingertips. That doesn't feel accessible for me today, so if that doesn't feel accessible for you, feel free to release the hands shoulder width apart, looking up towards the fingertips, or maybe even reach the fingertips slightly ahead of you. It's okay. All of our bodies are built slightly differently, and we're all showing up on the mat with our own experience in ourselves. Equally, if you want to take your feet hip width apart, rather than practicing with the feet together, squeezing the inner thighs, that is absolutely okay. So you can adapt as and when you need to. From here, we're going to bring the hands to heart center in any event, squeezing through the inner thighs if that is in your practice with feet together, and taking the right elbow to the left knee for a nice twisted chair here. Before you take the spine any further by pressing the palms together and turning the chest to the side of the room, before you go there, have a look down at the knees. Try and make sure that both knees stay level so that one knee is not sliding further forward than the other. Notice how that affects the hips if you do that. All right, once you're there, pulling the elbow against the knee, pressing palms together, and the thumbs want to be in line with the center of the chest. If this feels safe for you, maybe looking up to the ceiling, maybe blossoming the arms, or of course, adding a little bind for a variation to go a little bit deeper. And as you exhale, release the rotation, straighten those legs, and relax. Good. As you inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, find your chair pose, Utkatasana in Sanskrit. Hands to heart center. We'll go over to the other side now. So left elbow to right knee. Have that glance down at the knees. Make sure the knees are aligned so the hips are aligned. Press palms together, thumbs to center of the sternum. Notice if the hips are higher than the shoulders. Can you bend the knees a little bit lower so chest stays nice and proud? If you took the bind on the other side or just blossom the arms, go ahead and explore how the body shows up the other side. And as you exhale, releasing out of that rotation. Beautiful. Inhale to lift halfway, looking towards the horizon of the room. Exhale, this time plant the hands. Just going to step back through a cheeky little vinyasa so we make our way into downward facing dog. Brilliant. Good. As you exhale, lift the hips up and back. Right foot steps straight between the hands this time. Ground down through the left heel. We're going to spend a bit more time in Warrior 1 as we inhale, push through the sole of the right foot. Come up into Warrior 1. Now, traditionally, we want to see both hip bones pointing towards the front edge of your mat like the headlights of a car. If that doesn't feel accessible, tight hips or whatever, just take that front foot a bit wider and try and pull the right hip back and send the left hip forwards so we can have a square pelvis. Knees above the ankle and arms are alongside the ears. Option to interlace the fingers here, releasing the index finger, or of course just turn the baby fingers in as the shoulders slide down into back pockets. Staying in your Warrior 1 for another breath wherever you are. And as you exhale, release the hands in line with shoulders, find warrior two. Maybe thinking about walking that right foot, if you adjusted the right foot, that is, to the center of your mat. So you've got that right heel to left arch or right heel to left heel alignment there. Beautiful. Looking down at that right big toe, make sure you can see the big toe inside the knee. Notice if you're sticking the butt out here. Can we tuck the tailbone underneath you? This doesn't look like you're posing for the gram here. Lovely. Just soften the gaze over that right middle finger for your warrior two. On your next exhale, right forearm to inner thigh, left arm sweeps down past the inner ankle on the inhale, rotating up towards the side of the room. Taking the gaze under the armpit or elbow if that feels in your practice, and starting to release that right hand perhaps down towards the inner ankle if you feel open to going there. Options for half binds as left hand finds right hip. If you want to really take that practice further today for a spicier option, reach and grab the opposite wrist or fingers as you open the chest up, looking towards the ceiling. Extended side angle with a bind. Good. Last deep breath here. Beautiful. And exhale to release the rotation. Hands come down to the inner foot. Just going to release that left knee down. Inhale, push through the sole of the right foot. Arms come alongside the ears and come up into your high lunge or crescent lunge. So probably we've done quite a bit here in this series. So I want you to really feel that left heel reaching towards the back of the room. Feel that stability in that right hip, that right glute, as you've worked quite consistently here. Yeah, taking one last breath in your crescent lunge here before we transition into warrior three. We're going to try and do this in one breath. Take a big inhale, reach fingertips towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, sweep the arms back, weights just onto the right foot, kicking that left heel to the back of the room. Options to find your balance here like an airplane almost, or bring hands to heart center if that felt a bit challenging like an airplane. If you want an extra challenge for the last breath, can you reach fingertips towards the front of the room, find that straight line, and exhale that right hand down, coming into your half moon, all right? Still spicy on the grounded leg, but can we turn the toes out to the side of the room, stacking the hips one on top of each other now, stacking shoulders one on top of each other, maybe even floating that left hand up. And if you feel like you want the challenge, take your gaze up towards that top hand. Hey. Good. And exhale when you're ready. I think that right leg's had enough. Let's find our way down through a vinyasa. Step back, float back, make your way into any transition you like. And remember that child's pose is available to you if you want to take a few breaths there as opposed to down dog. Now we're back in down dog. I can certainly feel a difference in my right hip compared to my left, in my right hamstring compared to my left. How is yours feeling? Let's see how it moves on the other side, yogis. As you inhale, left leg reaches up this time. Excellent. Exhale, step the left foot between the hands. Release the right heel down at 45 degrees. Inhale, finding your warrior one or Virabhadrasana one in Sanskrit. Make adjustments to the pelvis as you need to. Taking the left foot wider. Putting left hip back, right hip forwards. Finding that proud chest with a little back bend there. Good. And when you're ready, yogis, exhale, releasing the hands in line with the shoulders. Walking that left foot to the center of the mat if you took it wider to find warrior two. Good. Last inhale, bring shoulders away from the ears. As you exhale, release the left forearm to your mat. Right arm sweeps down, forwards and up on the inhale, looking towards the ceiling underneath the elbow and armpit. Find that long line of energy, right fingertips this time, to right heels. And if you did before, go deeper. Left hand to the inner ankle. Options for that half bind, right hand to left hip. Or of course the full bind, reaching to find opposite wrist and pulling that wrist down as we open through the chest. Excellent. Taking one more breath, whichever variation you took of your extended side angle. Taking one last breath, whichever variation you took of your extended side angle. And as you exhale, just releasing those hands either side of the front foot, releasing the right knee down. Inhale, push through the sole of the left foot, high lunge or crescent lunge. Wrapping shoulders together, sliding into the back pockets. And from here, taking two more breaths before we transition into that warrior three once again. Good. Taking a deep breath in, reaching fingers up energetically towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, sweep the arms back, kick the leg towards the back of the room. Now, there's one side you're going to be a bit more stable on. This seems to be the side for me, although I can feel those wibbles and wobbles too. I'm sure you guys can. Bringing palms together if you need, if you want a bit more stability there. If you prefer something a bit more spicy, left fingertips reach towards the front of the room, whilst the right heel reaches to the back of the room. And as you exhale, release the left hand down, stacking a right hip on top of left, find half moon. Good. Options to reach that right hand up towards the ceiling. Taking one last breath in your half moon, visualizing that wall you're laying on flat behind you. And as you exhale, releasing hands down to the mat, releasing the right foot to the back of the mat, followed by the left. And of course, in any way you wish, lowering through vinyasa or pressing straight back into down dog or child's pose if it's really needed. Now, we're not going to spend long in our down dog, so just make yourself a little bit more stable, a bit more connected to the mat as you press into palms, rotate to the outer edge of the palms and the feet. And from here, we'll inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, bring right knee to right wrist, right ankle to left wrist. Preparing for your pigeon now as we slow things down into our more yin-focused part of our practice. As promised, beginning to slide that left heel away from the body. Now look over the shoulder. Make sure the ankle is not sickling outwards. You're pressing down with a nice neutral foot. A few options here. We can use that shin as a dial of intensity. So the closer that heel comes towards the hip, the less intense that should feel in that right hip trying to externally rotate. But if you want to make it a little bit more intense, parallel shin to top edge of your mat. Second choice you've got to make. You want to come down to the forearms if that feels okay in that right hip. Maybe even extend the arms ahead of the body, or just creating a little pillow for the head. Nice. Now we're going to be here for a minute or 5 breaths. Really allowing yourself to let go. If you're holding onto tension in your jaw, in your shoulders, in your hip, in your abs, maybe even flexing your foot super hard, then try and find a yin approach. So as always, inviting you to find the edge. How far, inverted commas, can you take your body to that edge without pain? Just allowing yourself to let go with each exhale. And that edge should gradually move further and further. We're making this easier and easier. Feel the weight of the body working against the fascia as we hold this position for another breath. Beautiful. Your next breath, beginning to place the hands under the shoulders, coming back into that starting position, tucking the left toe under the foot, and as you exhale, pressing hips up and back, find down dog. You'll immediately feel a difference. Now, we're not going to take our rebound as we often do in yin yoga. We're going to take our rebound after we've done both sides. So inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, take left knee to left wrist, left ankle to right wrist. It's just like we did on the other side. Make sure that foot is not sickling outwards. Just slide the foot away from the body now till that hip gets a little bit closer to the ground. If there is anything you've got around you, a jumper or a pillow or a blanket, feel free to place it underneath that hip so it becomes a little bit more comfortable for this minute or 5 breaths. Options to come to forearms or straighten the arms. Wonderful. Taking your time to slow that breathing right the way down. Deep inhales through the nose and deep exhales through the mouth. So I should probably mention, if you are using Ujjayi or you were using Ujjayi breath, there's no need to use any sort of controlled breathing technique in your yin practice. Just come to that long, slow, deep breath. That regular breath that you would do. Slowly beginning to make your way back into your starting position. And we'll take that rebound as promised for just 1 or 2 breaths, as we don't have much time to get through all the magic that we want to get to in our yin. So just rebounding on your belly, maybe placing head on the hands here, or taking chin in one direction for 1 breath. and changing sides for the other. Just noticing the effect on the hips as we're here for this cheeky little rebound, immersing ourselves in the practice. From here, we're going to place our hands back on the shoulders. You can push into a tabletop if you like, or into a down dog. Coming to our lizard pose, so we place our right foot outside of our hands. Now, a few options here. If you've got sensitive knees, feel free to double your mat over, like so, or place a blanket, a pillow, whatever you've got around you, a jumper. We can start there. Now again, it's a yin focus, so there's no need to pick the knee off the mat and make it a bit too intense to hold, but options to come down to forearms if that feels good for you today. If there is anything you can rest your head on, or if coming onto forearms, you can elevate your hands perhaps, makes it a little bit less intense for you. But we are going to hold for 5 breaths, long, slow, deep breaths. Yeah. Just try and surrender into that hip. Let the weight of the body work on the joint, on the fascia of the muscle. Let the nervous system really down-regulate as we breathe deeply. And let's show our body that it's safe to let go of any tension in these parts of the body, particularly the hips here. Should be feeling that across the left hip in the hip flexor, across the right hip in the groin, and maybe even to that glute of the right side too. Once you've done your 5 breaths, just going to place the hands back underneath the shoulders, transitioning through down dog or a tabletop. Remember, it's a yin practice, so you don't have to take the most dynamic variation even in the transitions. We're trying to make this a little bit more of a softer practice now to round this off. Slide that right knee back. Remember, option is still there to tuck the mat over if it feels a bit more supportive on the knee, or of course place something soft underneath it. Coming down to forearms as an option, and remember you can elevate the hands too, or find something to rest the head on, whether that's your 2 stacked fists or a prop, a little improvised setup if you need. Yeah, now again, one side may feel different to the other, but we still don't want to hold on to tension. So I can naturally feel that left hip biting around the groin for me. I'm just going to allow myself to lean into that for a few breaths. Find that edge. Does it feel manageable? Does it feel like a burning sensation? Do I need to avoid going so deep? Feels okay. I'm going to breathe deep, breathe through it. And hopefully that eases out towards the end of this pose. Slowly beginning to walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. We'll take that same rebound again, coming through tabletop, just allowing ourselves to lie on our bellies. Again, taking face one way or chin one direction as you stack hands on top of each other, creating a little pillow there. Just noticing how the hips feel after those longer holds. From here, making our way back into a tabletop position. Hands on the shoulders, just press the ground away, come onto the knees. And we're going to gently swing the heels around one direction, extending the legs away from us as we drop the hips back. Coming into a seated forward fold. Inhale, lift the arms alongside the ears. And as you exhale, lean the torso forwards, grab hold of whatever you can. Maybe it's the toes today. Could always be the ankles, the knees or shins if that feels better. Remember, we're trying to find that yin approach. So we shouldn't be forcing ourselves into any poses, but rather just allowing ourselves to let go, allowing ourselves to kind of melt or surrender is often the word that we use. So the shoulders find their way away from the ears, the elbows fall towards the ground, and the weight of the chest, the head, all begin to lean forwards towards the thighs. If you feel more settled with the forearms flat on the ground, then maybe that's an option for you too. Notice the lower back, notice the hamstrings. And again, without trying to force yourself into any shape of what it should look like, just notice the experience you're having in your body through the backs of the legs, through the lower spine, the lumbar spine. Slowly beginning to roll back up through each vertebrae, disc by disc, Find your way into a rebound for just 2-3 breaths. So your rebound will be laying on your back in that mini Shavasana, bringing the arms alongside the body, just noticing how the hamstrings and lower back feel as we reset, allowing gravity to do its thing on our body. Good. In your next inhale, just going to bring the right foot up towards the ceiling, taking the right ankle across the left knee as we bend, find that figure 4 stretch. Reaching through the gap, grab hold of the back of the left thigh, and we'll use the right elbow here just to press the knee away, find that stretch through the right glute. Taking a couple of breaths there. It's going to be a little bit less intense than the pigeon, of course, so we're not going to spend as long in this pose. What I do want us to do, though, is find our twisted roots. So releasing the arms alongside the body, create a big letter T, and then cross that right leg over the left. Option to double wrap and tuck the right toe behind the calf. Shuffle the hips towards your right and allow the legs to fall towards your left. Good. Looking over towards the right arm outstretched. Try to prioritize shoulders being flat on the ground, and gravity will always bring those knees closer to the floor. If you want to rest a hand there to gently support or guide the knees to the floor, then go there as long as it doesn't cause this right shoulder to float up. Good. Should have been here for a couple of breaths already. So taking another 2 or 3, just noticing the rotation deeply through the spine. That lovely opening through the chest and shoulders. And the hips getting some work here too. In your own time, gently guide the knees back through center. As always, we'll rebound once you've done both sides. But we'll go into that figure 4 first. So left ankle crosses over right knee, create that figure 4 shape with the legs. Reach through the gap, grab hold of the back of the right thigh. Shoulders away from the ears, and using the left elbow if you wish to press the left knee wide. Wonderful. Preparing for twisted roots now. Release the arms in line with the shoulders. Take left knee over the right. Option to double wrap, so the toe tucked behind the calf. Then shuffle the hips towards your left as you allow the legs to fall towards your right. If it feels safe for you, twisting the neck, looking towards the left arm outstretched. And of course, you can always use that right arm to guide the release towards the floor, so long as this left shoulder doesn't lift off the ground. Good. Let go of the tension. If you're holding tension in your jaw, your eyebrows, maybe through the obliques and the side of your abdomen, just try to release and let go. Let the weight of your body, the weight of gravity, the benefits of the pose all begin to work on the fascia, the muscles, the joints. Slowly, in your own time, begin to guide those knees back through center, and your rebound's a nice, easy, gentle mini Shavasana. As we bring our practice to a close, we're going to bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet together, finding your place. Then we're going to wrap this practice up, or your reclined bound angle, Supta Baddha Konasana in Sanskrit, placing one hand on belly and one hand on the chest. Again, the invitation to spend a little bit longer on your mat if you wish, to pause the practice here. Spend some time just observing the rise and fall of the belly, of the chest, of the abdomen as you breathe deep, and what can be your own meditation. Otherwise, letting go here as we find our way to close the practice. We can guide the knees over towards the left-hand side, laying on your left-hand side as you curl up into a little fetal pose here. Feeling reborn, feeling rejuvenated in your body, I hope. In your own time, keeping the eyes closed, just pressing your way up into a seated position, holding on to all the benefits of this practice for as long as possible. Eyes closed, moving slowly, moving gently into a seated position. Bringing hands to heart center, sitting nice and tall. Take a deep breath in and sigh out. Gently bow the head towards your heart. Thank yourself as always for showing up for yourself, for honoring your own practice, your own time, your own need, your own recovery, your own energy. Thanking you for trusting me to lead you through this practice. And I look forward to practicing with you all soon. Peace.